We have some huge news to go over today as an NBA insider has just came out and dropped a huge Lakers report surrounding a couple of Lakers in particular that have huge implications going forward involving both LeBron James, but also an interesting report surrounding Rui Hachimura. We're going to break down exactly what these reports are and discuss what it means going forward as the specific report about LeBron James sheds some very interesting light on his future in LA. We're going to break that down as well as a few other interesting things. You're going to want to stay tuned to the end of this video, folks, but before we get into it all, if you're part of that percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content. Your guys' support has been unbelievable, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys. Again, you guys have been beasts. Folks, a lot of news came out today. We're going to go over the schedule, things like that, but I want to dive into some new reports by Dan Wokey, which has revealed some very interesting details surrounding information that a lot of Lakers fans have been interested in for a very long time, and that is surrounding the truth behind the whole LeBron James thing that has happened this specific, of course, offseason. You can see this here, Dan Wokey on LeBron James's unknown future. And let's just dive into it because at the end of the day, there is some interesting information here. All indications are that LeBron James will be in training camp at the end of September and will play his 23rd season with the Lakers, but I really don't want to make any guesses, informed or not, about how James views his future, either as a Laker or as an NBA player. Again, all I know is that when faced with the chances to play for teams other than the Lakers, James has chosen to stay in the purple and gold each time. And the good news here is Dan Wokey is very tapped in, and he doesn't really speculate very often. You could even see within this tweet itself, there wasn't too much speculation, mainly firm reporting. He is reporting that essentially, obviously LeBron is going to be playing for the Lakers this upcoming season, which we expected to a degree. But the way that he words this is very interesting. And that's kind of what I want to dive into. He doesn't want to make any guesses about his future. And clearly by multiple reporters and all these different things, and now this by Dan Wokey, there's some sort of fogginess surrounding specifically LeBron James and at least what his future is, maybe not this year, but beyond this year, but even, heading into this season as well, if things don't go well. And we think about what Rich Paul came out and basically said when LeBron opted into his player option about how he wants to compete for a championship. It's going to be very important to see what LeBron does following, of course, depending on how the next few weeks go with this team. And obviously you're at a point now where if he struggles this upcoming year, not LeBron, the Lakers, that is, for the first half of the season, is there going to be conversations at the trade deadline surrounding LeBron? I'm sure there's going to be some reporters out there throwing LeBron James' name in a variety of rumors. But at the end of the day, there is murkiness here, but he is going to be playing at the start of training camp, and that's ultimately the most important sign here. And for everyone who thinks, they could still trade him, that is a possibility, and he basically doesn't rule that out within this report. So it's, again, an intriguing one. At the end of the day, something is, interesting is going on there. Clearly, his future hasn't been as concrete as we may have seen it in previous years, and that has caused, some speculation. We've seen some Brian Windhorst, from all these different guys, but for now, the good news is he is a Laker, and he's chosen to be a Laker every step of the way when faced with, a variety of doubts there. Now, let's move on to a couple of other reports because there's a lot more to go over. And obviously, Lakers have new ownership now, and we got some interesting insight into what this actually means because we know, Jeannie Buss is still operating, within the team, but ownership has changed. And at this point, we have some information on what this new owner will actually, Mark Walters will actually do. So you can see this here. One thing the fans should know is that modernization efforts began prior to the sale, with the Lakers further investing in things like analytics and medical staffing. But there was to some extent a budget. With deeper pocketed ownership, it's reasonable to expect that the Lakers will be able to take more risks in the ways they spend on non-salary cap matters. So we kind of knew this somewhat when they obviously made the, I guess not firing, but when they changed ownership to Walters. And now at this point, the good news is they were actually working on efforts like this before they changed the ownership. But now it's from a reporter here that they are actually going to be going out and making those tangible efforts for change, specifically as it pertains to not having a, personal team salary cap. We've seen it before, some players, KCP, like there's players the Lakers have let go of because of the fact that they let them go because of the fact that they were constrained by their budget a little bit. That is not going to happen anymore. And for a team now that is going to be building around Luka Doncic, he is the future of this franchise, to have a new owner right as you get the superstar player coming in. Not only is it perfect timing, but it also shows other players, other free agents, potential trade targets, that this team is not going to be worried about the money. Of course, in the NBA, there's a salary cap, so there's always that. And the apron, this first and second apron, are horrible. The new CBA, horrible in the sense of, for owners, the new CBA has made it very difficult to pay a ton of players a ton of money. But for the Lakers, they can expand further than a lot of other teams can now, and that's going to be huge for the Lakers going forward. And ultimately for Walters, it's great to see that us as Lakers fans, we get to watch a team that doesn't have to worry about the salary. You have to worry about the salary cap, but in non-salary cap matters, they can take more risks in that way and, go around the board and make interesting moves like that. And again, we've been firsthand with seeing the Lakers be willing to let go of talented players that they didn't want to pay and go over that into the, luxury tax and all these different things, or, the tax, all those different things. Now, luckily, they have a new leaf has been turned. And one more thing as well from Dan Wilkie, a lot of new reports here, and this is on Rui Hachimura, and there's been a lot of rumblings about what his future is like, whether a trade is coming, all these different things. You can see here, he went on to say that another good season, you could even argue that he should be with the Lakers for another multi-year stint, even if it eats into some of their future flexibility. But if the defensive gains weren't real and the shooting suffers, it's been 2 full seasons of being really good. Keeping the books clean becomes the better option. This is about the Lakers' future, of course, and this specifically is revolving around Rui Hachimura. And Rui is an interesting one. Like, a lot of people thought that, myself included, that they might actually include him in a trade because of the fact that they have a ton of, guards and wings and, wings now. Looking at the depth chart here, he would probably be your starting small forward. Now, there's a good chance that Marcus Smart slides in, and then they, of course, this is the old, depth chart, but there's a chance that, they slide in and then move him to the bench with the new depth chart. I don't know why that old, I used it in my last video, but regardless, the depth chart now that we have, with Marcus Smart off the bench, you of course have some other players there as well that can start. Jake LaRavia, of course, is a big one. Let me know down below and leave a comment. What is your ideal starting 5 right now? What is your ideal starting 5? Mine, again, I've been on record saying it's probably something along the lines of Luka Doncic, Marcus Smart, Rui Hachimura, LeBron, and DeAndre Ayton. We've seen some say, obviously, replacing Rui Hachimura with Marcus Smart and running Luka, Marcus Smart, Austin Reaves. Of course, having Austin Reaves in the starting lineup. I'm more on the fence of I would like to see kind of what Reaves could bring you off of the bench. Might be a crazy take, but I think that it might provide some more flexibility to the team, specifically in the department of depth. And these are Rui's stats last year. Is his three-point shooting going to be able to be sustainable? It's 2 years in a row of elite three-point shooting. Before that, it was below average for the most part, three-point shooting. How is that going to be sustainable? Is Rui's future going to be with the Lakers, or it will be with another team? There's a lot of questions coming in here, but what we do know is that they could actually extend him from Dan Wilkie, which is a bit of a surprising turn of events. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on all of that. And quickly, folks, before we wrap up, the Lakers, the schedule, full schedule has been released. And you can feel free to search that up. But some of the highlights here is that they have 34 nationally televised games, which is tied for, of course, the Thunder, the Warriors, the Knicks for most in the league. Classic, right? It's the Lakers. You will always get a ton of those games. And at the end of the day, that's a lot. And we get to see, Luka a lot. There's some interesting, stuff with back-to-backs and, and all these different things. They got a solid schedule, but what matters most here is that, if you want to see them on ESPN, they'll be on there 34 times. Other than that, we'll probably have a full video covering some of the key marquee matchups and things like that, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting, and the season is inching closer and closer to being upon us, and we'll keep you up to date every step of the way. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. See you guys later.